The video's going that way.
Come on. Right, everybody, going live today
How's it going?
with the new episode of Judgments. And so we want to give you guys 6 different tips for judgments. Judgments are, if you look at tip number 1 of the greatest derogatory marks that we can have on our credit file. And so with Justin's background in bankruptcy and mine in tax, we see a lot of people that have been into bankruptcy, they've got behind on payments. So judgments are probably one of the top items I see that people are talking to us about as we talk to people.
Right, and the judgments can affect your FICO score and your ability to obtain a good loan or a mortgage, probably more than just about anything else out there. If you've got a judgment on your credit, you're not going to be able to get a mortgage. You're not going to be able to get a refi. You're not going to get a good rate on an auto loan. You're likely not going to get a good rate on other credit card loans or other lines of credit or anything like that. So they can really damage your ability to save money.
Exactly.
And to create a better lifestyle for you and your family. So
Yeah.
we really want to get those removed and pinpoint those and figure out the best way to go about getting them removed. If we can remove them, ideally we will be able to, but we really need to look at them closely.
Exactly.
Another thing is they're reported to your credit file. They're reported to all 3 bureaus typically. When a judgment is recorded in the court, it typically gets reported to all 3 bureaus almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
So those can really hurt your FICO score and your ability to obtain financing on whatever it is that you happen to want to obtain financing on. And it can potentially hurt your chances if you're trying to get a job and they're pulling your credit and they're seeing multiple judgments.
Yeah.
They might feel like you're not a good job candidate, and so it could hurt you in that respect as well. Or if you're looking to get an apartment or a lease for your business, they can hurt you that way as well.
Yeah. And a lot of times having multiple judgments versus maybe just one judgment. I know I was talking to someone, they were trying to get a home loan. They had a judgment on their credit file. The lender would loan to them if that bounces up above $2,000.
Right.
So, there's definitely going to be different scenarios, 1 versus 2. So, all right. Hey, while we're kind of talking here today, it's always fun to know where people are logging in from, right?
Yeah.
So you guys ought to drop, where you guys are tuning in from. Let us know, where you're at. If you're in Utah, out of Utah, anywhere nice, let us know where you guys are tuning in from. A lot of times people watch these replays as well.
Right here, we, as we typically are in sunny St. George, Utah. It's almost sunny year-round, almost every single day of the year. It's another hot day. It's over 100 degrees here today, so welcome to the desert here in St. George, Utah.
I call it God's country, so there's never a day without a blue sky.
Yeah.
All right, now we want to go into number 3. Judgments are used when lenders can't collect a past due debt. So basically what's going to happen, right, is we get behind on some bills. We tend to just bury our heads down and try to, I guess we kind of wish that this would just go away.
Sure.
But if you're a lender, are you just going to let it go if someone has your money?
No, I'm not going to let it go.
Probably not. And so this is just one of the ways that a lender can use to collect their money back. So, all right. How about...
And then the 4th tip here is we have listed the creditor has 7 years to collect on that debt. And that is actually, it can vary state to state. Typically it's around 7 years, 8 years. It can show up on your credit. So you want to be sure that it actually is the original lender who lent you the money that is trying to collect on you. And you typically don't want to make payments to a third party that you don't know whether they necessarily are entitled to collect payments, or if the debt was actually sold to them, or if they have the original promissory note on that. Usually it's good to really look at your credit, as we always preach. You want to pull your credit and take a look at it, see what's on there. If there's a judgment from the original creditor and they've written it off and they've sold it to somebody else, we really need to take a look at that and see if it's actually still a legitimate debt or if it's been, completely written off. And we also want to look and see, if there's a judgment that's been on your credit for 8, 9, 10 years, that should have been removed.
Right.
And if it's still on there, it's not supposed to be on there. You need to let us help you have that removed, because they're not entitled to have that on there any longer.
Right. So you're saying that if I got behind on a debt and you owe me money, I can just sell that note over to someone else and have them collect the money?
Exactly.
Okay. So that's good to know. That's a good little tip right there.
Yeah.
All right. So this is probably my favorite, tip number 5. So if you guys like this tip number 5, will you guys drop a 5 in the comment box below? But I always say try to resolve the matter before the court proceeding. So what's going to happen is if you get behind on some debts, eventually they're just going to send legal proceeding to the courts trying to sue you, right? And so if you can handle that before it gets to that point, that situation, maybe by going in and negotiating with the lender that you owe money to, then you're not going to have, the judgment on your credit report, but also all the legal proceedings that go with it. Right,
and the other thing is, too, if they do obtain a court order, a judgment, which is a court order, if they obtain that, they can go and get a writ of garnishment, and they can garnish your paychecks. And, that can be pretty painful because they can garnish a significant percentage of your paycheck pre-tax, and so it can be pretty expensive. So if there's, a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 judgment and, you're only making $2,000 a month and they're garnishing, $500 a month, that's going to be pretty painful on your budget. So you want to look at those things, and if there is a way to negotiate those prior to getting the judgment, then, it's usually a better idea to kind of take care of that before it gets to the judgment. But here again, we want to make sure that it actually is a legitimate debt before you start negotiating with these people. If they're not entitled to take money from you, you should not be negotiating with them.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. But wow, I mean, how much do you think percentage-wise that they can garnish from your wages?
A lot of times they can go as much as 25% of your gross wages. So it can, and here again, it varies from state to state, but and situation to situation. But that can be pretty painful on your monthly budget, especially if you're kind of on a tight budget. So you want to be aware of that as well. And the 6th and final tip, if you like this tip, drop a 6 if you would. Let us know that you like it, and let us know if you have any questions as well about the tips that we're talking about. So the 6th one, if you pay off the judgment, you will want to update with the credit bureaus. So if a judgment has been paid off, you know definitively that you've paid that off, but it still shows up on your credit, that's a problem. That should not be on your credit at all. It should be removed. And sometimes they will automatically remove them. Oftentimes, that's not the case, unfortunately.
Right.
So here again, as we always state, you want to check all 3 credit bureaus and see, is there something that I've paid off that should not be on my credit, but it's still showing up, because that is going to affect your FICO score. It's going to affect your ability to obtain a loan and all these other things. So it's really critical that you really follow up as soon as you pay that judgment off to ensure that it has been removed. And sometimes it's a little bit of a process. Sometimes it's not as easy to have those things removed as one might think, and that's our expertise. That's where we specialize. We've dealt with this many times before, and we've got a proven track record to be able to get those things taken care of and get those things removed when they should not be on your credit.
Right. So that's one thing about a judgment, is it's basically stale on your credit report, because it's not going to be updated every month that you have a judgment, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just going to sit there until it falls off, or we go and we dispute to have that removed because it's erroneously there or inaccurate. So.
Exactly. And where you mentioned that it falls off, here again, technically after so many years, it should be removed from the credit, but Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen, and in fact, frequently that doesn't happen, and we have to go in and send letters and send disputes and
Right.
make sure that that creditor is actually removing that from all three bureaus, not just from one bureau or two, but making sure that they remove it from all three bureaus. So that way your FICO score is going to jump, and you'll be able to get the loans that you're looking for.
Exactly. And that's one thing that we were talking about on our way over here is, we want to also put you in that position where you're starting to rebuild your credit now.
Right.
So as these things become further and further back into history, then we're moving forward and forward to have that, those positive remarks versus the negative remarks.
Exactly. And that's a big portion of your FICO score and your credit is how much positive payment history you have and the length of payment history. And so, we really want to work on all those things. We're here for you guys. We know what it's like to be turned down for loans. We know what it's like to be spending $200, $300, $400, $500 a month more than you should be on certain loans. We want to help you guys out. We want to get this stuff removed. We want to get you in a better financial situation. We want to help you with your budget. We want to give you the tools that are going to help you to have a better financial future. And that's what we're here for, is to help you guys.
Yep.
And let us know if this has helped you, if these tips have helped you, and let us know if you have any questions about what we've talked about, or if you have any questions about what we talked about last time. If you have filed bankruptcy and you're post bankruptcy and you're wondering how to get your credit improved and get the bankruptcies removed, at that point, let us know what we can answer, what questions we can answer about that as well.
Right. So we were just talking to a lender at lunch, and he was saying, a lot of his buyers don't know that, they could buy a home probably after 2 years of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So, if life after bankruptcy is what you're looking for, we have a video that's going to give you some tips there as well. So that's great.
Exactly. If you feel like we've given you some helpful tips today, shoot us a 1, shoot us a 2. Let us know that we did give you some valuable information.
Maybe drop that hashtag Pinnacle.
Hashtag
right?
Pinnacle, I would love that.
Pinnacle.
Or a money bag. I always love it when you guys drop money bags.
Yep.
If you have any questions, referring to judgments, referring to bankruptcies, let us know.
Yep.
If you have questions about other topics that you'd like to hear about, shoot us a message that way too, and let us know.
Yeah.
We're happy to answer any questions you have and address any topics that you guys might have.
Exactly. All right, guys. Remember, PinnacleCreditPros.com is our website, so you can always go there. There's a little button there that says "Get Started." Shoot that over to us, and it'll go right into our system, and we'll know that you guys want to talk to us. Maybe a little bit more in depth into some of these topics that we've been talking about.
Exactly. Hope
All
you
right,
guys have a great day. Thank you for tuning in.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Okay,
We'll see you.
See you guys.
Bye.